a glittering handshake in a marble hall, smiles, cameras, and the promise of strategic partnership. Billions of euros are pledged, the official words, humane migration management, shared prosperity, stability. But thousands of miles away, in the burning heat of the Sahara, the true cost of that handshake is revealed. Men, women, and children abandoned in the desert. No food, no water, just silence. In overcrowded detention centers, people are beaten, extorted, and brutalized. This isn't a mistake. It's the deal working exactly as designed, a system where human beings are reduced to bargaining chips traded for money, legitimacy, and power. This is a handshake worth billions, but the currency isn't just cash, it's people. For years, Europe has been desperate to stop irregular migration. Politicians back home face relentless pressure. Angry voters, headlines about crisis, images of boats arriving on Mediterranean shores. Securing Europe's borders became an obsession, but guarding thousands of miles of coastline? Impossible. So Europe invented a different solution. Move the borders, push them further south, pay others to keep people out. It's called externalization. The EU hands billions to North African governments, outsourcing not just border patrols, but detention, enforcement, and responsibility. The goal? Make sure migrants never set foot on European soil. The result? A profitable industry where controlling human movement becomes a business. Tunisia became the model. In 2023, European leaders stood proudly beside President Kais Saied to announce a billion-euro partnership. Brussels called it a blueprint. But on the ground, it looked more like a nightmare. Just months earlier, Saied had unleashed a racist tirade, accusing sub-Saharan migrants of plotting to erase Tunisia's identity. What followed was violence and mass expulsions. Security forces, emboldened and funded in part by EU money, rounded up black migrants and asylum seekers, families, children, and dumped them in the desert at the Libyan and Algerian borders. No water, no shelter, left to die. Even as these abuses were exposed, the money kept flowing. Because for Europe, fewer boats meant success, no matter the human cost. So why would leaders like Saied agree? The answer goes far beyond cash. These deals deliver political survival. Suddenly, a president accused of authoritarianism is welcomed in Brussels as a strategic partner. International legitimacy in exchange for policing Europe's borders. Direct aid props up fragile economies, easing domestic unrest. And the focus on migration? A perfect distraction from unemployment, corruption, or the erosion of democracy. Even better, there's an unspoken guarantee. As long as the migrant numbers stay low, Europe looks the other way. Human rights abuses, power grabs, repression, none of it provokes much outrage when the partner is keeping migrants out. Tunisia was only the beginning. In 2024, the EU sealed a $210 million migration deal with Mauritania, a key stop on the way to Spain. Opposition figures warned their country was being turned into Europe's holding pen. Then came Egypt, a staggering $7.4 billion package, with hundreds of millions earmarked for migration control, signed with a government notorious for crushing dissent. The pattern is clear. From Libya's EU-backed Coast Guard, accused of torture, to Tunisia's desert expulsions, to Egypt's repressive regime, the deals keep multiplying. Each one a bargain. Europe gets fewer arrivals. Leaders get cash and cover. And now, the strategy is evolving into something even darker. Not just paying countries to stop people from leaving, but paying them to take people Europe wants gone. The so-called Rwanda model. The UK tried it first, striking a deal to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. It collapsed after wasting hundreds of millions with just 4 voluntary transfers. Yet the idea didn't die, it spread. Italy signed a deal to build detention centers in Albania. Germany, the Netherlands, and others have quietly floated similar plans, and the European Commission is now considering return hubs in non-EU countries where rejected asylum seekers could be dumped. This is the final step. Outsource not only borders, but conscience. Let others do the detaining, the deporting, the dirty work. Keep it far from European eyes. And so, Fortress Europe rises, Not on European soil, but in the deserts of North Africa, in the prisons of Libya, in the capitals of authoritarian states. For politicians, it's a win-win. European leaders point to falling boat crossings and declare victory. Their partners in Africa cash in, consolidating power. The photo ops look polished, the speeches sound noble. But at the center of it all are the only people with no voice in the deal: the migrants themselves. Men, women, and children fleeing war, poverty, and persecution, reduced to pawns in a geopolitical game. Their lives, their futures, traded away for money and political leverage. So the next time you see European leaders smiling beside their partners and announcing a new deal, remember the hidden transaction. Who is being served and who is being sold? Because in this trade, the currency is human lives.